Hey, welcome back, guys. So the weather is kind of warmed up a bit. I got another load of manure, a couple loads of wood chips. Now is kind of the materials gathering season. We're gonna just check in on this pile. Look how much it's compressed down. I don't know if you remember from the last video, but this is probably down to probably 75% of its original height. It's already compressed down quite a bit. So we'll give it a turn now, kind of build it back up to a nice big tall size. It'd be nice if we had chickens to kind of turn it for us. So those of you with livestock, that's a good resource to use. Use the animals to do the work for you. And then we've got ground up eggshells that will stick in there as well. Eggshells are something where you really want the bacteria and the microbiology in the compost pile to break it down. So putting it in a very biologically active input source into your property is a really good idea. Another thing is you can see how kind of some of this is settled out, and you can see some roughness into it. This is because the snows and the melting and the thawing has kind of drawn the manure down in. So we can top this back up with some more manure. I'd kind of said that the hugelkultur mound here would need constant top up, so we'll just kind of top it up. All right, so that is actually more frozen than I thought. It's about -8 right now outside. Tried to turn it. I couldn't break through the outside layer. So, I thought there'd be a decent amount of heat on the inside and I'd be able to turn it. I guess I can't garden in the middle of December in Canada, so I guess I'll just go pick some of my kale and go back inside. So here's the red Russian kale. Fully has ice on it, but it's actually still edible, still tasty. It's not super bitter. So it's, middle of December and I'm still eating from my garden. So pretty good to, sometime around October, to kind of succession your garden into late season crops. It can really pay off. So other than that, there's not much more gardening I can do in December, but can always go get more wood chips. So this is material collection season. Doesn't mean you can't garden just because the world is frozen. It just means you change what kind of stuff you do in the time that you have available to you. Alright, one last thing I can show you to make this video a little bit longer and give some interesting information is people have asked what I do with my pond. So this is, for all intents and purposes, a pond that has man-made pumps to recirculate the water, but it doesn't necessarily need to be. This can just be a pond. So right now I have basically put an aerator in, and this is aerating the water, and you can see it's causing enough motion that it's not freezing in and around this aerator, even though the rest of the pond is freezing. And the other thing I did is drain the pump bowls and turn off the waterfalls. Now apparently you don't need to do this. You can let the waterfalls run the whole entire winter, but then you risk a power outage at like 4 in the morning, stopping the flow of water, and that water will freeze very quickly. So I didn't want to risk that. We might move this. I kind of thought in this corner it would be okay and this would freeze over here thick enough. We'll see when it gets really really cold, like -30s. I was hoping that we'd maybe be able to skate on this, but obviously right now skating on this wouldn't go well. Just a quick little pit stop. This is the Chicago hardy fig, and this is expected, by me at least, to fully die this year. So all this top growth will die, and then I'll probably cut it off and we'll get new shoots coming like this next year. Like these might die, but it'll reshoot out, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky and this thing will actually leaf back out. We've got it surrounded by thermal mass, lots of rocks. Hopefully that'll heat up in the days and give it just enough of a moderated temperature to survive. But there's the Chicago hardy fig. So check with me in the springtime and see if this thing died or not. So the pump bowls for 2 of the pumps are down here. Have to be careful with the ice, it's pretty slippery. So here is the underground reservoir is under this, and here's the pump bowls. And you can see there's still water in there. Here's a check valve. So I basically just attach this check valve so that the wetland filter, this pushes the pumps in the bottom, pushes water up and then into the wetland filter through the bottom of the filter, wetland. So when I take this off, the whole wetland drains down into this sump, and then it overflows right here. There's a pipe and then goes down there. So any rainwater that comes into the pond will basically end up in here, and it will kind of fill the pond up. It'll overflow, you know, come down here as it kind of freezes. And then this is porous, so it fills the reservoir. This whole thing is this reservoir here. So it'll fill that up and then overflow. But because it's got thermal mass, there's no risk of it freezing. And that's why I detach those, because the risk of freezing is clearly here. You can see some pipe that's actually, you know, running across the surface just before it goes underneath these rocks. And then it goes up the hill underneath, around the side of the pond to feed the upland waterfall. Parts of that would be underneath the frost line. Probably not a whole lot, but parts of it up near the top probably, and maybe around in here would be underneath the rocks, deep enough to get under the frost line, but not all of it for sure. So we definitely want to minimize freezing, so we drain that line there. This lavender here is keeping a beautiful color right into the cold season. So if you're looking for some nice green color at like minus, you know, 10 plus, probably lasts all winter like this till it gets covered with snow. Nice plant for if you want some green in the wintertime. So in this deep end of the pond, there's another pump that takes suction from the bottom of the pond. There's one of those filter snorkels, and it's like a diffusion inlet, suction inlet. So it'll suck out from the bottom, and there's a pump line that comes up underneath the deck over the rocks and goes to this pump back here. So this pump needed full draining because, as you can see over here, it's above water, or I mean above land. So this whole entire pump was drained. We drained it out. Sorry for spinning the camera down there. And this whole area here, obviously this whole entire line could potentially freeze, so we wanted to get this all drained out. Now this piping is specifically designed to tolerate a little bit of freezing. You know, I was a little bit concerned with this section here because it's lower and comes back up, so the pump would have pushed out. There might be some water stuck just in this section, but apparently it's okay. This can take a little bit of freezing, and the rest of that line is drained out, so even if it freezes, hopefully the water can kind of spread out a little bit. It's not like it's a solid line of pipe. And that's it. So basically drain this line from that pump into here, and then drain those two lines over there, and that's my winterization process, and that's all I have to do. And other than that, this just turns into a pond. And I don't know how good this will come across in videos, but kind of right there, there's a pipe, and it's buried and surrounded by rock, and that's a fish cave, an underwater fish cave. So they're all in there. They were out kind of in this deep end for a little bit. When it got really cold, I found that they went under there. It might be a bit warmer because of the rock, and they feel safe because of the cave. So I thought, oh no, something came and got all my fish, and then I saw a couple of their noses poking out of that underground fish cave, and I think I still have all the fish, and I think they're in there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the spring. Thanks for watching a gardening channel episode in December in Canada. You guys are the best. I'll see you on the next one.